Okay, let's continue with the anatomy and physiology of chickens or poultry in general. So sorry for inconvenience. I was not able to continue the discussion because my laptop has been draining its power. Nalobat po kanina. Well, anyway, let's continue. So we have here the feeders, no? The anatomy of feeders. So shape of the feeder. The shape of the feeders varies greatly with size and shape. And that variation is because of the sex of the chicken. So feeders vary greatly in size and certain shapes associated with sex. And the gonadal hormones. So this one, the gonadal hormones, or the six hormones, which plays an important rule in the sex variation. So that variations in size and shapes of feeder of the chickens, that's because of the gonadal hormones between the males and females. Gonadal hormones increase the length and narrow the width of certain feeders of the male birds, including hackle, saddle, sickle, and lesser sickle feeders. So some feeders have different length, and the other one maybe narrower and compared to the other. So they have narrower width and length. So mas taas pero ang taas og na narrow, and that's one's because of the differences in hormones between birds, males and females. So we have still on feeders, we have the feeder tracts. No? Feeders do not cover the body uniformly. So there are portions of the bird's body that has not been covered with feeder. Okay, but grow in rows and to produce tracts or areas over the body. So mayroong arrangement, the arrangement of birds feeders is not in random, so they are arranged in rows. Again, feeders do not cover the body uniformly but grow in rows to produce the tracts or areas over the body. So there are 10 major feeder tracts as follows. We have the shoulder feeder tracts, we have the thigh feeder tracts, we have the rump, the breast feeder tracts, neck, abdomen, leg, back, wing, and head. So these are the different portions of the body that has been populated with the feeders. So another is we have the color. So the color of feeders and feeder patterns are genetic characteristics, and their inheritance has been worked out by scientists. So again, we can distinguish the different varieties of chickens based on the feeder colors and the feeder patterns in their body. So the feeder colors is highly heritable. Okay. So the other topic worthy to be mentioned on feeders is the molting. So molting sa layman's term sa Bisaya yung nangarol o nag-ilis og balhibo. Okay, this is a physiological phenomenon which consists in the shedding of feeders, tanggal ang mga feeder, then followed by their renewal. So parang kung sa tao pa na siya is kanang nangilis og panit, no? Okay. It is accompanied by slowing down of laying or even complete halt, complete stop. So during molting, ang kaning molting maka-epekto sa gidaghanon sa itlog sa manok, kay kung dili sila mahunong pangitlog, mohinay ang silag pangitlog. Ana siya. So there are different stages of molting in chicken's life. So this takes place at several stages of life. First one, we have the first molt. Ang feeder changes from down. Down is the first feeder. This is the feeders that we have observed from the old chicks, no? Yung mga bata pa sila na unang balibo nila ni ang down. Then when the down changes the juvenile plumage at 6 to 8 or up to 4 weeks. This is the first molting stage of the molting process. Then we have the second molt, change from the first juvenile plumage to the second juvenile plumage. It happens between 7 and 12 weeks. Okay. Then we have the third molt. The third molt, renewal of the plumage of the hen between 16 to 18 months of age, commonly called the molt. Shedding is first observed in the feathers of head and neck. So una mga roll, una mag-ilis o balibo, ang ulog, ang liog. Then followed by those of the breast, back, flap, abdomen, and finally those of wings and tail. So wing and tails are usually the ones that molt last. So poor egg producers molt early and slowly. So usually those breeds of chickens that molt early and the molting process is slow, so usually they are the poor egg producers. Okay, so yun. So the next one is the head. What are different structure or appendages that attaches to the head? So the head of the chicken is presented by the following parts. We have the comb or the tapay. We have the eyes, the eyelids, the eye rings, the inner margin of the eyelids, eyelashes, bristle feathers covered of straight shaft. We also have the ears, which found in the head. We have the ear lobes, wattles, and beak. So if you are to look at into the different parts, structures in the head, so we have this one. So this is the wattle, the single the comb. This is the single comb type. We have the eyes, we have the earlobe, we have the beak, we have the wattle. So look at that. Okay, these are the structures, appendages within the head. So try to look at the comb. So the comb, there are several types of combs, but only the first three of the following list are common. So there are many types of combs, but the most common ones, they are the single comb, the rose comb, the pea, cushion or walnut comb, strawberry, V-shape, and buttercup comb. If you are to look at into these different types of combs, so try to look at this for you to be familiarized. We have the single comb. Look at that, the most common one we can see, we have been seeing in our neighborhood and even in our farms and even in our backyard. So these are the pea. Usually the pea is somewhat the same or what we call as the round head. Okay, we have the strawberry, we have the cushion, and we have the walnut, then we have the buttercup, we have the V shape, and we have the rose type of comb. Okay, so there you have it. So what about the feet and shank? What are the parts, what are the appendages that located within the feet and shank? So important parts of the shank and foot are the hook, shank, and toes. Most chickens have 4 toes on its foot, but there are few breeds with 5. May uban na doble ang ilang kumagko, no? Kaya mo 5. So the shanks and most of the feet are covered with scales. So sinabi kanina, they are covered with scales because there is a theory that chickens originated from the reptiles. So with scales of various colors. Yellow color is due to dietary carotenoid, carotene, so the vitamin A. So yellow is due to the dietary carotenoid pigments in the epidermis when melanic pigment is absent. That is in the feet or shank. The yellow usay ang tail because of carotenoids. So what about the skin? What about the skin? Most of the chicken is covered with thin skin, with exceptions of the uropygial glands or the prin glands located on the upper sides of the tail. So dito sa lubot natin ito ang isol. So mo na dito sa isol ang uropygial gland. Kana bitang yellow kung ato ang kuhaon, no? So the skin is void of glands. So the skin of the chickens is walay glands. The absence of sweat glands makes it impossible for the bird to sweat to lose moisture. So dili panington ang manok muna ang hikapon ng manok init, no, kay mo siyang kapkapan, init siya because dili man siya makaregulate sa iyahang kainit through excretions of water from the skin, kay dili man siya gasingot. So wala siya pagsingot. The skin takes a different texture in the area of the comb. So ang yang tapay lahi ang yang texture kumpara sa iyang pamitay. Watol sa the pamitay. Sa earlobe, so mas humok kumpara sa comb. Beak ang yang texture gahi kumpara sa comb. Scales no gahi. Spores and claws also gahi sila ang yang texture anang mga parts. Except for certain specialized areas, the color of the skin is either white or yellow. So depende silang pagkaon no ng color. The density of the yellow color is correlated with the amount of xanthophyll in the region. So xanthophyll is the yellow pigment. The yellow pigment. Kung more on yellow pigment ang gibahog nimo sa imong manok, most likely ang color siyang skin is yellow because of xanthophyll. Example, yellow corn, no? Daghan pang mga sources of yellow feedstuff. So that is the skin. The other one, we have the skeleton, no? Ang iyahang sorry, where is it? The skeleton. Okay. The skeleton is the framework or the structure, no? The framework which supports the body and to which the muscles are attached. The rib cage protects some of the vital organs, example, lungs. The skeleton of the neck is long and freely movable. So, movable siya, malihok-lihok, not rigid. But remaining portions of the vertebral column is rigid, okay? Containing many fused bones. So, bones found in the skull, humerus, keel, clavicle, and some vertebrae are hollow. So they are known as the pneumatized or pneumatic bone, and connected to the respiratory systems with air continually moving in and out of a specialized bones. So those are what we call as pneumatic bones. And pneumatic bones functions for respiration. Okay. So most of the bones are light in weight yet very strong. So rather we have a soft spongy bone known as medullary bone. Okay, we have the medullary bone is present in varying amounts in the femur, doon sa buto sa iyang pako, na medullary bone ang bukog sa iyang tiil, tibia, and certain other bones of the skeletons of the females in egg production, which is used as part of the source of calcium for eggshell production. Yung mga medullary bones helps in the formations of eggshells and the egg. Okay, if we are to look at into the structure or the illustrations of the skeletal system, so we have in here. So we have different bones in the neck. We have the incisive, we have the nasal bone, we have the lacrimal, you have the mandibulate or the mandible bones, you have the quadrate, then the occipital. So the first bone in the neck is known as the atlas, and these are not rigid. This is movable. It can even turn to the 360 degrees, no? Okay, at last we have the epistrophius. We have numerous in the wing. We have the ridges and ulna in the wings. We have the metacarpus and the phalanges. We have the clavicles. Look at that. We have the coracoid bones. We have the sternum. Sternum usually protects the digestive system and as well as the different organs inside the body. Like for example, it protects the small intestine, large intestine, and the organs within this region is protected by the sternum. And you also have the ilium, from where the femur attaches. We have the tibia, we have the tarsus, and we have the phagocytal bone from which the prin gland or the uropygial glands are nearly located. You have the ischium and we have the pubis. So try to familiarize with the skeletal systems of the fowl. So let's go back to our slide. So the last one, we have the muscle. So muscles that move the wings are unique to those birds that fly and are attached to the keel of the sternum or the breastbone, is the another term of the sternum, which also supports the vital organ of the abdominal cavity. Chickens are endowed with white muscles and red muscles, giving rise to light and dark meat. Usually, the activity of the muscles determines its color. Those of the leg are darker than those of the breast because birds walks more than it lies. So ang iyang meat mas darker kung ang iyang muscles permanente niya gigamit. Kung tagsara kayo magamit ang muscles, then the color of that meat usually are white. So that's it. So for the anatomy of the chicken. So as a sort of review, let us try to go back in as a plus. So we have discussed about the anatomy, the structure. Look at that. We have discussed the parts of feeders. Alright. We have also discussed about the molting process of the feeder. And we also discussed about the different parts of the head, types of comb, then the part that attaches to the feet and shanks. And we also discussed about the skin and the skeleton of the chicken. So muscles, we discussed that. Then next meeting we try to discuss about the reproductive systems of the chicken. Okay, before we end the sessions, I would like to encourage everyone, please try to log into our Scholarly website, because I have downloaded all the materials in there, and try to log in so that I could know who are the student that has browsed and has read the materials, and logging into the Scholarly serve as your attendance. Thank you, and till next meeting.